It's a mental illness. Fitness and bodybuilding and fitness competitions, it's an absolute mental illness. And if there was a formula on how to look like a movie star, the formula is become very, very strong with your body weight. If you can get to the point where you're able to do 5 weighted chin-ups with 50 pounds, you're gonna look pretty good. You can do 5 with 100 pounds, you're gonna look freaking insane. Am I a fan of Ozempic? Absolutely not. But is Ozempic the real culprit here? No, it's the mindset of trying to deprive your body, eat very low calories, and bootstrap your way lean. You want to give your body the beauty of health. You're seeing people that are having huge amounts of bone loss, Ozempic, losing tons of muscle, their face gets gone. It's because they're doing things that they couldn't do before. Interested in doing steroids was because I wanted to achieve the accomplishment of transforming my body. Once you start using steroids, who gets the onus? The steroids does. You know, as soon as someone injects steroids, all of a sudden their accomplishment went out the window.
My name is Deep. I'm the host of It's Not That Deep. Now, before we jump into this episode, which you're not going to want to miss at all, I want to take a second to tell you my story a little bit. So after graduating college, I worked for the federal government of Canada. Not only that, I worked in the pensions department. I know, super exciting stuff, right? Now, I was the king of water cooler talk, super long breaks, and staring at the clock waiting for my shift to end. That was my life, and I absolutely hated it. The whole time I kept asking myself, is this it? Isn't there something bigger, something out there that I actually truly care about doing? So eventually, after a ton of internal debate and quite frankly, a lot of friends gassing me up to start some kind of show, I decided to launch It's Not That Deep. Now that was back in 2019. The whole premise of the show was to connect with people who I find interesting and to learn how they are realizing their potential in whatever domain. Now, I also wanted to have some kind of show where I could document my journey, something where, you know, if I have kids or grandkids one day and they ask, you know, what I was doing at 26, 27, I tell them, go to YouTube, check it out. So that single decision flipped my life upside down because it led me to meeting a bunch of incredible entrepreneurs, CEOs, athletes, artists, and everything in between. From there, connecting with the right people led me to starting my own media company. And that's when I met my current business partner, Jamie Lee, through this podcast. So then in 2021, we launched Deep Social Brands. Fast forward to now, we've done over $2.5 million in sales. We've traveled the world, moved countries, built teams, built incredible relationships, and we've gotten to film content all around the world. Like right now, I'm in Panama. We're filming content with one of our clients. And the crazy part is I don't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube yet. But none of those vanity metrics or anything like that actually truly mattered, because putting out content changed my life. I'm telling you, if you just commit to hitting publish, I guarantee it'll change your life in ways that you can't even fathom. And that's why Jamie and I decided to launch putoutcontent.com to help you realize your potential through putting out content. And no, don't worry, it's not just another agency. So if you are serious about growing online, connecting with people around the world, and living the life of your dreams, and if you're tired about guessing what to post, what the strategy should be, how to get your videos edited, how to even film them, or just generally how to put out content, head over to putoutcontent.com. You'll thank me later. But for now, let's get to this episode of It's Not That Deep. Greg O'Gallagher, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me, dude.
Dude, 2 Canadian guys who are down here in Miami enjoying the sun. It's not too sunny today, but you know, we were just talking about this right before the podcast, but we have a lot of love for Canada. I'm never, you know, I'm never giving it up. But what's it been like coming down here and connecting with people, and what's been the difference for you in Canada and Miami?
You know, what's interesting is that I started doing time in the US for a long time. Like since I was 24, I would go to LA almost every month for a week or two. And this has been part of my life for the last 7-8 years, is having a presence in the US. And I mean, you can't escape it. Like there's so much more opportunity in the US, so much more business, so much more ambition, drive, creativity. You just don't see that in Canada, or you see that in a very small amount.
Yeah.
You could go out for a year and maybe you'll meet a couple people that are ambitious and driven and doing some cool things. But in the US, like if you're in a big city like New York, Miami, LA, right? It's everywhere. And I'm from Toronto. Toronto's a huge city. It's like the same size as Chicago. It's like a big city, but it just doesn't have that same level of ambition and creativity.
Absolutely. And we've even got a team out there. And I've always found, I mean, we started off our business back in Canada. And did we have a bunch of clients? Yes. But money always seemed to be the issue. And it just seemed like even if you did meet people who were entrepreneurs who were doing something, it just wasn't the same. Like, you know, people were not as willing to take risk. You know, the sheer volume of opportunities that you attract was just a lot less. And yeah, I mean, look, I could sit here, we can make the whole podcast about that, but I do want to kind of, you know, intro you a little bit. I mean, people already know who you are, but you're a legend in the fitness space, man. I mean, I grew up seeing your content, you beating up that MMA Bob, yeah, that, you know, legendary ads and videos, and everything you've done with Kinobody, Kino Shred, and all the supplements, everything. Like, I gotta say, you're one of the OGs in the space, bro.
Thank you. No, it's crazy to me because I still feel young. You know, I'm 33 now, but like in the fitness world, the online world, I was everyone that's massive now, they grew up seeing my videos. And I think there was like a point when I was 24, 25 where my videos just had this iconic influence on the fitness scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys that are huge now, they kind of put me on a pedestal because they got inspired from my content. So
totally.
it's I didn't even realize when I was that period, I didn't even realize the impact I had. I was doing these little vlogs, waking up, sharing what I was eating, and they just had this massive influence that is kind of sinking in now.
Well, because it's real, bro. It comes across. Like, that's the thing that I think a lot of people respectfully in your world, there's a lot of like fakeness and like, you know, these fitness influencers that like take things to a whole crazy level, and they're all just, it's my way or the highway. I think what I've always liked about you is like, you are your number one guinea pig, and you have kind of distilled these principles that are honestly pretty simple. Like, it's not that like it's simple, but it's not easy for a lot of people to comprehend. But it's like, move more, eat less. You don't need to be in the gym 5-6 days a week. You can get away with 2-3 really good workouts. Get your sleep dialed in, get your steps in. You know, you can intermittent fasting, just basic little hacks that I think people can apply more, and it's more real than I'm going to go keto and never smell a carb again, or, you know, God forbid I have a glass of wine or something. And then, you know, I just feel like a lot of people in the fitness space, they got this dogma and these ideologies that don't work for a larger subset of people who just want to look and feel good.
No, exactly. No, that's absolutely true. So that was my goal when I came to the fitness scene, is that no one really simplified anything. When I was trying to get into crazy shape when I was 19, there wasn't a clear path on how to lean down. Some people would tell you, oh, you got to eat paleo. You got to do the paleo diet to lose weight. You got to do low carbs. You got to go keto. You got to cycle your carbs. And there was so much convolution. You got to eat every 2-3 hours. You got to do all this interval training. There was so much convolution, and I was navigating through it, testing everything. And I just realized that the answer was way more simple than anyone was saying. It's like, hey, ultimately, if you want to get lean, you have to be in a calorie deficit. If you want to maintain your muscle, you got to get the correct amount of protein. You don't have to go super high. You got to get the moderate protein, right? And you have to do some strength training. And then once I just looked through that lens, I just focused on, okay, what are we really solving for? We got to make eating at a calorie deficit, the right deficit, as enjoyable as possible. And everyone, especially in fitness, they think it's extreme that gets you ripped. Oh, I got to do 2 workouts a day. I got to go super low carb. That actually
75 hard, right?
Yeah, no, that actually is horrible. It actually works against you. You pull the elastic band, then your leptin levels crash. You become ravenous, and then you binge eat. So I actually went through a whole cycle when I was 20 years old, binge eating. I would deplete myself, do lots of low calories, lots of cardio, and then I would break. I'd punish myself. And then I would break and I'd binge eat. I'd be eating 6,000-7,000 calories, like just nonstop. I felt so guilty, and then I would just hit this low, and it was extremely toxic. So the reality is, if you want to get in amazing shape, you have to work with your body, not against it. And so I just was like, okay, we have to hit the right deficit, get the right amount of protein, hit the right amount of strength training. And if you train too much, you do too much cardio, what happens? You just get ravenous. Working out, people think more working out is better. Working out, you're actually, you're pulling, like you're increasing your hunger. That's why athletes have huge appetites. When you're burning a lot of energy, your appetite can skyrocket. So when you want to get lean, you actually want to lift weights less often. So when I'm stuck and I'm having a hard time cutting, I will go down to like 2 workouts a week max. If I train really heavy 3 days a week, eventually I want to eat more, right? So it's actually, people think I do more. Like I talk about doing 2-3 workouts a week. People think, no, you must be doing 4 workouts or doing
They think you're lying. Like,
no, I do less. When I want to get, and I love training, right? If I want to get very, very lean, I go down to 2 workouts a week. If I want to get bigger and stronger, I'll do 3 workouts a week, and sometimes I'll do 3 while I'm cutting, but then eventually I'm like, hey, I'm getting too hungry. I need to go down to 2. So I train a lot less than people think, but to really build an amazing physique, all you have to do is get stronger on key lifts. The reason your muscles are going to get bigger, the reason you're going to build big shoulders is you're increasing your strength. You're getting stronger on key lifts. So a lot of people think and even when I was in fitness, a lot of fitness coaches and bodybuilders would talk about there's 2 different types of hypertrophy, right? So you have myofibrillar hypertrophy. This is an increase in the size and density of your muscle fibers, the contractual filaments of your muscle fibers. As you increase your 5 rep lift, right? So let's say you're doing a bicep curl, as you go from doing 25 pounds for 5 reps to 30 to 35, you build muscle size through myofibrillar hypertrophy. Now, if you were to just grab 25 pounds and just do lots of sets and reps, short rest, and get a pump, that increases the fluid in the muscle called sarcoplasm. Now, a lot of people in fitness thought that most hypertrophy was actually the pump training, the lightweight stuff. And it's completely false.
Go crazy on reps and just like fill your
that crazy pump, man. Like it's completely false. You can get a temporary swelling in muscle size, but it's not real. It doesn't last. Like if you want to gain real rock hard muscle, the only thing you have to do is get stronger in the 5 to 10 rep range. You can get crazy pumps 2 hours a day, but if you're not getting stronger, there's no growth. There's 0 growth. And so most people in fitness and I've seen people even now put this stuff out, right? Where if you want to get hypertrophy, you want to do shorter rest, more repetitions, get the pump. If you want to focus on building strength without size, you do heavy weight, lower reps. That's completely false. I've even seen Andrew Huberman have someone on his podcast talking about this. It's not true. Muscle growth comes from building strength. Now, if you do 2 to 3 reps, the volume stimulus is lower, so you're not going to maximize the muscle building stimulus. But 5 to 10 reps with heavy weight, long rest periods, focusing on getting stronger, that's the sweet spot for maximizing muscle. And when you follow guys that are enhanced, that you're using anabolic steroids and lots of different compounds, it's harder to figure out the truth, right? It's harder to figure out the truth because a lot of the drugs is doing the work for them.
Yeah.
When I was training naturally. My whole life, I decided I want to be natural. And so it's a lot, like your training is so important. When you're on all these drugs, the training is not as important.
No.
But if you even go to the absolute top, right? If you look at the top, I mean, who was one of the top bodybuilders, right? Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates did very low volume. He would lift weights 3-4 days a week, sometimes just do 1 or 2 sets an exercise. His volume was inherently low. I think he'd do like four sets of muscle group per week. And he was like, one of the biggest, most powerful bodybuilders. And so it's building muscle. It's not a volume game. It's not an endurance game. It's not being in the gym for hours and hours. It's a strength game. It's an intensity game. It's a power game. It's getting very, very strong. And I've analyzed my training, my physique since I was like 12, 13 years old, since I was super young. And I flirted around with all these other programs and I gave it full on, let me do this with absolute focus and see the results. And I remember when I was 18, your body's flooded with testosterone, your body's primed to build muscle. And I was 18, I was at university, and I was training with these 2 sort of bouncers, bodybuilder guys. One of them was for sure enhanced. One of them, I don't think he was. And I would do their workouts, and we were in the gym doing tons of volume, tons of sets, tons of reps, at least 90 minutes to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
And I made horrible gains. I ate a lot, so I got heavier and bigger, but I just got puffier and it looked horrible. And then I was like, this is not working. I had 2 months when I was back in Toronto, and I did the opposite. I trained a lot less, like 3 days a week. I focused on getting stronger. And when I came back to school a couple months later, they're like, holy shit, what were you doing? And my calories weren't as high, so I was eating a bit less, and I just got harder and stronger and thicker. And they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was doing my stuff, right? So that's the reality of building amazing bodies, getting stronger.
Absolutely, man. And like clearly I love how you tested it all on yourself, right? And you tried all these different modalities, and like we all do when we're 18, 17, whatever, you're just looking at other people and what they're doing. But ultimately, like, to look the most aesthetic that you want to be, which is, let's be honest, like 90% of us who are not like pro athletes who we got to put up numbers in a basketball game or something like that. Like, we just want to look good naked. Like, we want to perform, we want to have good energy, we want to, we want girls to look at, like, there's just a few things we all mostly want. You don't necessarily get that by doing more. Like, less is actually more.
Less is more. And the interesting thing is that, you want to look aesthetic, you want to look attractive. Well, becoming strong is the way you do that. You want to be lean and strong. If there was a formula on how to look like a movie star, the formula is become very, very strong with your body weight. So if you can get to the point where you're able to do 5 weighted chin-ups with 50 pounds, you're going to look pretty good. You can do 5 with 100 pounds. You're going to look freaking insane and have a taut waist, wider shoulders. And so the formula looking good is getting very strong for your body weight. And so to look aesthetic, you also have to be powerful. And I think that's like the coolest part of fitness is that you have the functionality too. You don't just look good, but you're functional. If when I was a kid, I would look up to like epic movies and see guys like Van Damme in top shape and Bruce Lee, and I'd, get like Jason Bourne. You see these guys and you want to look good. James Bond, you want to look good, but you also want to be powerful. And so that requires training less, like you said, focusing on getting stronger, having your nutrition dialed, and your body will morph into movie star shape. It's very simple. It's very simple to get in good shape.
And that's why you have thousands of testimonials and so many people, who absolutely love what you've built. And like, it's kind of counterintuitive because like, I think as well as like, as men, we often think that like, we always want to do more. It's what can I do? What can I like actually do to achieve this thing? And usually we think more is better.
And it's a symptom of low IQ. So the fitness industry actually, it attracts a lot of low IQ people, to be honest with you.
That's true.
It does. They get absolutely convoluted.
Yeah.
The fitness industry has a lot of low IQ people. And so when I was solving fitness, I'm not an engineer, right? But in engineering, there's a concept called first principles. You break something down to its first principles. No one in fitness could solve fat loss.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at what does it actually require to get leaner? It's very, very, very simple. You must be in a calorie deficit, but you can't pull the elastic band too far. Then you rebound, you crash your leptin. And so it's like finding that sweet spot. How do we make it as enjoyable as possible? What's the first principle with gaining muscle? Get rid of all the crap people say about being in the gym 2 hours a day, doing all this volume. There's tons of people that are in the gym 2 hours a day that don't make any gains. It's progressive overload. So I just looked at fitness at first principles, broke it down. And then I focus on 1, we got to get very, very strong. And 2, we got to nail the calorie deficit without crashing our hormones. And I just put those 2 together. And the missing piece, the final sort of ribbon on top is that we're humans. I'm coaching myself and I'm coaching humans, not robots.
Yeah.
So I have to create a system that you can enjoy because I tried doing stuff that's extreme. And what happens when you do something that's extreme? You're counting down the days on this diet, right? Like it's a prison sentence. Like if I put myself on an 1,800 calorie diet, I don't think I could go a few days on that. Like it's not, I've done it before. I did it for a couple weeks straight, but it is miserable. So you're counting down the days like it's a prison sentence. And so what's the problem with that? Even if you get to the end result, even if you hit your goal, which you will likely not, you break, you binge eat, you put on the weight super fast. And everyone that does fitness shows, they bootstrap it to get ready for the contest, and then they eat 10,000 calories.
Oh, yeah.
They gain 20 pounds in a couple of weeks. They blow up. They're in good shape for just a minute period of time. Like usually a month before they hit the contest condition, they look good. And then they get to the contest and then they lose everything. And so this is it's a mental illness. Fitness and bodybuilding and fitness competitions, it's an absolute mental illness. It's not healthy. People ask me about fitness shows and bodybuilding. I just don't think it's aspirational to.
I don't even want to look like that. Like these guys, I don't even know how they wipe their ass.
Yeah.
Like,
one, you don't want to look like that. Two, it's all this, you're spraying your body with all these spray tans. You're shaving every part of your body. You're putting on a little swimsuit with 8 other jacked men. You're posing. To me, this is the
strange
antithesis of masculinity. It's you're on stage with a bunch of jacked men in oil and spray tans getting judged on who's the strongest. It's not a masculine thing.
And women are not even attracted to that. Find me like a woman who's not doing that herself,
right?
That actually is attracted to that. It is a weird thing.
And I mean, credit to some of these guys, they work very, very, very hard. But the challenge is that I like to have my cake, eat it too. I want to be lean, strong, powerful, look good, enjoy my life, be able to eat nice steak, potatoes, have some cookies at night. And the extreme approach, you don't get any benefit because when you're trying to get in shape, you're suffering the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you break and then you binge and then you're overweight before you know it. And so my solution and my system and my philosophy is about being in top shape, enjoying the process, because the reality is there's not a single diet or training program that will allow you to be lean for life if you don't enjoy it. So you have to enjoy the journey to your goals. This is when everything changed for me. I learned this lesson when I was about 20, in my early 20s. And I kept failing. I did the extreme approach. I would binge eat. I'd fail. I did this for 2 years. I was spinning my wheels. It was a point where I'd have friends inviting me out to doing things on the weekend, going up north, and I just felt too ashamed to go. I didn't want it. I felt horrible myself. I overate. I just felt like a failure. And I finally was listening to Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle helped me get ripped.
Great book.
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle got me ripped because I was listening to Power of Now. I was reading this passage, and it hit so hard. If you have a goal, but you become so obsessive about achieving the goal that the present moment, the journey to the present moment to your goals just becomes like a mere stepping stone to the future. This moment is just a stepping stone to the future. I don't want this moment. I just want to fast forward, get to the future, get to when I have that 6-pack.
Yep.
If that's the mindset, right? You are sabotaging yourself like you couldn't imagine. You're cutting yourself off from the universal force.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of flow, and you're actually it's creating a mental illness.
Yeah.
And so what he said, and this changed my whole philosophy, was that have a goal you're looking to realize, but honor and enjoy the present moment and the journey along the way. And you've learned this in success, and every person that has achieved success, the end destination is the short-lived moment.
You'll find a new mountain really quickly.
Yeah. It's a short-lived moment. And so the best part of achieving a big goal is the journey there.
Yeah.
And if you can't enjoy the journey there, then you can't enjoy life, right?
Well,
because life is the journey to the present moment unfolding to your goals.
And it's happening right now. Look, this is the journey. And I think, I like most people have struggled with that of you set this goal, you become obsessed with it. That's the only thing. And you kind of forget about this current reality is everything. We only get one life. And why are we always moving the goalposts of when I get here, then I will be happy? And I still, I'm not perfect. Like these days, I still have to reteach myself that lesson every single day of like the journey, not the destination. And I just remember, so many times in my life, like even like, the clearest example is like you go on like a monster hike or something, right? You're going up a mountain and you see where you think the peak is. And you're like, oh, cool. Like this fucking sucks right now. But like, once we get there, like we'll be good. Like it'll be dope. And then coming down will be easy. Then you get there and then the mountain wraps around and there's another peak and there's another peak and that keeps going. And that's such a good metaphor for life. And now when I think back to those hikes, I don't remember any of the times I got to the peak and was like, like I'm good, like I made it, I'm done. I just remember struggling with my homies or whoever I'm like going up with, and like those moments of falling in the snow or like of laughing or like of pain or joy and all that. And yeah, it's beautiful connecting the spiritual with these egoic things that we all want to achieve. We all want a six pack. We all want to look lean. We all want, whatever attention, validation. But like in trying to get there, remembering now is so important. That book's amazing.
It's a great book. And there's another quote that goes into this. So there's two ways of becoming unhappy. Not getting what you want is the first one. Getting what you want is the second one. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking about it and you want, okay, I want to have $1 million or make XYZ a year. I want to have the girlfriend. I want this car. If I snap my fingers and all of that stuff came true, it would be exhilarating. Let's be honest. Your dopamine would be ripping and you'd be excited and all this. But eventually that would wear off. And all the thought patterns that you're experiencing right now, all the lack of your experience right now would shortly and very soon, would begin to resurface. And so the place where you create abundance, the first step to creating abundance is recognizing the abundance you already have in your life. And I use this I use this currently, and my mental condition sometimes will just be so focused on the future. I want to get here. I want to get there. I want to get there. And I'm not appreciating what I have right now. And when you start to appreciate and see what you have right now, the irony is you attract more of it. It's like if you have two kids, right? And one kid is just all like, no matter what you get him, what you do for him, it's not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Whereas your other son is just super grateful, doesn't really need much, is happy. You want to give to that person, right? If you're dating a girl that has these crazy expectations and wants you to buy all this stuff from her, it makes you want to give less. And if she's just really grateful and he's going, you want to give more,
yeah.
Right? So it's like your relationship, your thought patterns, and your relationship with how you see the world is very important. And your internal state creates your external world. So if you're unhappy with the world you have unfolding in front of you, the first step is to look at what are your thought patterns. And often when you fix this and then you start to operate by getting your mindset dialed, by getting ambitious and seeing the opportunity. Most people, they see this went wrong. Seeing the opportunity, get excited about solving problems. When you change your thought patterns, your life changes. And I've seen it. I've had people close to me in my family, in my life. Like my father, for example, had the most powerful, ambitious, driven mindset, right? And I had another family member close to me that had the exact opposite. And they both came from very, very similar circumstances. My father started with nothing, and their outcomes couldn't be more opposite, right? So the mindset is so important. You can be against all odds, have the right mindset, and achieve incredible success. Or you can have good connections and serious opportunities and have the wrong mindset and fail and fail and fail and fail. And sometimes eventually the mind pattern that you have, you become addicted to it. People that talk about drama, they subconsciously want drama. They get excited about drama. Yeah, they engage in drama, right? And so you have to be very, very careful. You have to take a step back. That's also why listening to Eckhart Tolle is good, because you can disconnect yourself from these thought patterns. You can learn to observe your mind, gain control of your mind.
What was the catalyst for you to kind of embark on a little bit more of a spiritual journey?
So I was 21, and I was desperately focused on achieving my fitness goal, like you couldn't imagine. And a lot of people in fitness, and I was going for a low body fat. Like, let's not like make no mistake. Like, it's not easy to get to 8% body fat. It's quite hard, right? So I was so determined to get to my goal, and I tried everything, and I kept failing. I would almost be in tears. I'm like, why can't I do this? Why can't I follow this damn diet? And I wanted to get there fast. I looked in the mirror. I didn't want to be where I was, right? And we all have our own standards. I just was so focused on this goal. And I realized, I had a friend that mentioned this power of now stuff, and he was sort of a mentor. And I was like, you know what? Like, I got nothing to lose here. And I didn't even listen to the power. The power of now was more of just more so to become more present, just different. But it just became the unlock for my physique, because now I was like, okay, now that I'm going to accept where I am right now I'm going to accept that I'm at 16% body fat. I'm 20 pounds heavier than I want to be, and that I've been failing for months and months and months. What's the right action? If you do not accept the situation you're in right now, you cannot take the right action, because you're resisting the situation.
Right.
You can't fix something without accepting it. I accepted. Okay. All right. Here's where we're at. Okay. And I almost, it's like I took this deep breath, and I'm like, okay, I took this baggage off of me. And I was like, okay, we do not need to get to 8% body fat fast. We've tried that. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? And a lot of people in fitness that try and get six-pack abs, they come to the realization, or what they think is the realization, that it's not possible. It's not possible to maintain six-pack abs. It's not possible. It's unhealthy, right? So I accepted where I am right now. I'm like, hey, let's do this the right way. I'm not going to rush the process. And I said, the only way I'm going to get lean is if I can enjoy every step to my goals. So I got to make this enjoyable. If I can't enjoy it, I'm not doing it. And then from there, I recrafted my approach. I literally just focused on making it as enjoyable as possible while hitting the correct deficit, not going too extreme. And then I started to make progress, and I started to enjoy the journey. And there's this other element of fitness and transformation, is that the more you think about fitness and dieting and losing weight, the more you're going to mess up.
Because you're obsessing over it?
You're obsessing over it. You're draining willpower. Willpower is a finite reserve. So if you're thinking and chronically thinking about your diet, how many calories is in this, and if you're overthinking about it all day long, what happens? One day feels like a month.
Yeah.
And so you want to almost, this is also why, like, some people are like, oh, I'm too busy to get in shape. No, being busy is the easiest way to get lean. The more busy you are, the easier it is. If you have a month off work, getting in shape becomes a lot harder if you're this type of person. So you do not want to think about it. You want to just be like, okay, boom, this is what I have to do today. I have to get a couple walks in. I'm going to eat this, break my fast with this, have dinner, have this snack. I'm just going to do that, but I'm not going to think about it. Do not think about it. I had a friend in LA, and I was at dinner for 2 hours. He was just talking about, the calories and when I was going to lose weight. How long will it take to get 8% body for this? I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop it. Knock it off. You're making this worse. And so when I put my energy into my business and doing content and in my life, and I let my fitness, right? I let my fitness fall into the background of my life. I got in way better shape.
Yeah.
When I was at the forefront, it was, because it's not like getting lean is, all you can do is really just hit your calories, right? And go for a little bit of a walk. So like if you're building a business, you can pour in more time. You can spend 8 hours. You're learning the guitar, you can spend more time. But with fitness, the biggest issue, it's not a time thing. It's a don't screw up thing.
Yeah. It's eliminating the unforced errors, like the binge eating, which we've all been there. But sorry.
Yeah. So fitness is something, it's one of the few things where you can be great for 23 and a half hours a day, and in 30 minutes, you can undo everything.
Yeah.
You can undo the entire deficit. You can even undo an entire week of cutting, of productive eating in a few hours.
Yeah, easily. We've all been there. And I mean, look, sharing a little bit of my story. I mean, I grew up an athlete. I grew up playing football. I was eating like a monster, and this was before the era of like where people were actually like a little bit more dialed in on what type of nutrients and stuff actually make you perform better. It was like, let's eat a massive bowl of pasta before a game. I'd crush a pizza. Yeah. I'd crush a large pizza with the garlic dip before a football game, and then go play that and be totally fine. Because when you're young and you're expending that much calories, and I'm playing on multiple teams, like so much practice, so much output, right?
And there's a power to not thinking about trying to lose weight. So when you're active and you're burning a lot, and then you're like, oh, I got to eat, I got to reward myself, right? It's a much more positive mindset to go into eating.
Yep.
But if you tell yourself, I got to do 1,500 calories a day, then you screw up, then you order the pizza, guilt charges you into overeating beyond what your body would want. So, I mean, I had that when I was starving myself, or like when I was cutting very, very, very aggressively, I would screw up. I would eat way more than I ever ate when I was younger, right? So it was the mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you deplete yourself and you restrict yourself for so long, and then you mess up, and then there's the right way to screw up is to say, hey, I'm human. It happens. So let's get back on the horse tomorrow, like whatever. The wrong way is that I failed, I screwed up, the whole week's ruined, the whole day's ruined.
Cycle starts.
Yeah, and then it's the what the hell effect. Well, what the hell? I already messed up, so now I might as well eat the whole box of donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gets you, that pulls you out of alignment with your body's natural hunger cues, and now you're eating in a much more unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're playing sports, you're burning a lot. Oh, let's have some pizza. You're just enjoying food. You're enjoying it. You're eating until you're full. But when you tell yourself you're a failure, you screwed up, you messed up, why you fail, then it's like a 10x. Like it's unhealthy.
Well, yeah, like the second part of that story for me is then when I no longer had my sport, I messed up my shoulders, didn't go on to continue playing ball. I still was eating that way, and I had these reward systems kind of tied to just eating some whatever bullshit food, and I got to like 310 pounds at one point.
Wow.
You know how they talk about the freshman 15?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I started college, I gained like the freshman 50, bro.
Wow.
And because I was drinking too, binging in like every aspect of life, and I just didn't have that discipline, and I felt like, I'll be fine. Like I just got to dial in, and I'll get back. To this day, I'm still working on, undoing a lot of those habits and patterns. But the thing that's helped me the most, like really get in a way better place, and maybe not exactly where I want to be, but again, that positive self-talk of like just being like, yo, no, it's okay. Like I'm on the path type of thing has helped a lot with that. But in that journey, what I have found and learned is actually keeping it simple is so much better than trying to overcomplicate it and like almost like abusing myself with like, I'm just going to eat chicken and broccoli and try to get to 1,800 calories a day. You're miserable. And then, what happens on the weekend? You end up doing all of it.
It doesn't work. And I have pretty solid discipline. I've never been able to stick to that. And I'm in fitness, right? So the average person, if they think they can follow extreme diet, they're out of their mind.
Absolutely.
So no, that's very important to realize. And the finisher on this point is that the person you are now and the way you see yourself now is not the person that's going to get you to your goals. The person you were in college that was overeating, that gained 50 pounds, that's not who's going to get you to becoming a lean, powerful 190, 200. And so you have to shift your identity, shift your belief patterns. This is why the power of now is good, to help undo those ties to your old thought patterns. But the other thing that's good is just to wake up, and from now on, starting tomorrow, you're a different person. You see yourself as the guy that's 190, right? So it's the incorrect way to set a goal, is to say, I really want to get to lean, chiseled 175 and healthy. No, if you're 200 pounds, that's not what you say. If you're 200 pounds, you say, I'm a lean, chiseled 175, and
40 are there
right now. Right now, the body follows the mind. When you put this into your head, right? It's not just your thought patterns change, your behaviors change, even your ability to express, turn on, turn off, certain genes change.
Yeah.
Your thought patterns have massive power. So you want to see yourself as the person. You're not becoming ripped. You're already ripped. You're not trying to become this new person. You are that person.
Right.
Embody it now. There's very few things that are going to become more of a mental mindset battle than transforming your body. This is what you see in the mirror. This is what you walk into a room with. This is you. It's different than even making money. Like, this is you. So to transform your body requires a mental shift. And so that's what I've always done. Any goal, you write down present. The present tense. And that's more powerful at creating behavioral change. And what you'll notice is that when even like, let's use the example of beating yourself up, right? If you tell yourself, oh, I screwed up, I'm a failure, why did I eat that? Why did I miss this gym, right? You beat yourself up. It has an opposite effect. If I see you and I tell you, oh dude, you're looking horrible, you look like shit today, getting to the gym, it actually has the opposite effect. You're like, fuck, I look like shit, I might as well just eat, let's skip the gym and eat food. If I say, dude, you're looking good, man, you've been doing the shoulder press, leaner, like you've recomped a bit, you want to work out.
Yeah.
Right? You can feel it. So the thoughts you give yourself are so important. Most people give themselves shitty, negative thoughts.
So many negative thoughts in a day, our negative self-talk, our inner dialogue. Like, I think they've done studies on this. It's like 80% negative self-talk. But you would never talk to your homie like that.
Never.
You wouldn't talk to someone you care and love about. So why not reflect that on ourselves? And you had this very interesting point there that I think a lot of people need to hear. It's like changing at the identity level. It's like, you need to actually, before changing anything physical or your bank account or your love life or anything, right? You have to actually believe that it's possible and that it is you now. That's powerful, bro. I really identify with that.
And if you have maybe a loved one, maybe it's a girlfriend or boyfriend, maybe it's a sibling or a parent, you don't want to berate them and like, oh, why are you eating that? It's bad for you. It makes things so much worse. You want to compliment them into transforming. Oh, you look awesome today. What have you been doing? You know, like, great job. Or, oh, you screw up a bit. You know what? That it happens. Like, we're only human. I had this. You know, just keep going. Like, you want to give them this positive warmth.
Yeah.
And that will encourage the transformation.
Yeah.
The more critical you are, the more you're hard on them about why'd you eat that? Why'd you do that? It makes it so much worse. And so, yeah, you have to be very, very careful. If you want to transform your body, you want to wake up and you be like, fuck yeah, we're getting in shape.
Yeah.
I'm dialed, I'm lean, I'm feeling it. You want to maintain that frame. And then it's so funny how your appetite can change overnight. If you change your thought patterns, all of a sudden it's easier to be full. You have more energy. You feel stronger in the gym. You know, when I go into the gym, some people go into the gym and like, oh, I really hope I can hit this weight. It's going to be heavy. I don't know if I can get 4. Maybe I'll get 5. I don't know. I need help. I need a spotter. They just destroyed their strength in the span of 10 seconds. When I go to the gym, and I could have a bad sleep, I could have a hangover, I could have some terrible news. If I go to the gym, I'm a freaking machine. It doesn't matter what's going on. I'm hitting a PR. Any weight, I'll get it. It just, the body follows the mind. And so you must put in the most productive thoughts. And I've hit insane PRs. Sometimes I'm cutting, I'm down a couple pounds. I hit a PR. You know, I'm not all the time. Like, I still have my setbacks, but for the most part, you know, just like I'll show up in the gym and I will hit a PR and I'll be strong as hell. No matter what's going on, I'm going to crush it. So it's, these are the thought patterns you want to embed into your mind.
And it makes it so much easier to get in momentum, right? I found that when I do eat better and make better choices for myself, first of all, yes, it starts with an identity shift, right? Hey, I am what would that higher version of myself that's in alignment with that ideal physique or whatever, what would that person do? Well, this wouldn't be that. Like, I'm doing this whatever dumb meal, whatever, it's not in alignment with that. But if that does happen, it's okay. Boom, get back on that treadmill right away. Just, you're right back on it. Instead of this vicious cycle, having virtuous cycles. And I found that momentum, dude, it only takes like a couple weeks of like stacking those wins where I find, at least, like, my body starts to crave real better food and wants to make better decisions because it's feeding into this positive loop. And same goes with, like, dude, I used to hate training legs. I used to like not enjoy it at all. And like up until even like recently, like every time I'd fall out of my routine with hitting legs, I don't mind any other body part. It was like legs. I had these injuries and I'd always just feel negative about like, how I feel, whatever. Dude, I go 3 weeks consistently and I'm like, I'm not missing legs. Like, and I'm going to progressively overload every time. Now, dude, I can't wait like till my next lift. Like, I'm fired up for legs. And it's like,
Right.
that applies to everything in life.
No, absolutely. So no, this is very crucial to lock in.
You've said before that, kind of on that same vein, like, being hungry is actually a good thing, or like, feeling a little bit of like mild hunger is a good thing. What are your thoughts on that with intermittent fasting and everything else that you do?
Yes. So, when you grow up, most people associate hunger with bad. Oh, you're hungry. You need to eat something. You need to eat something. And we've been coddled and overfed our entire lives to not realize that some hunger is very good. Humans were meant to experience hunger and to go through life always avoiding hunger, snacking, eating, creates stress on your body to always be digesting food. When you give yourself a break from eating, right? You get your insulin levels come down, your immune system picks up. So your immune system functions much higher when you have a period of fasting. Your growth hormone levels increase. This actually helps improve fat mobilization. You get cellular repair. It's all these amazing things happen with fasting. Fasting is good. And so, I remember when I learned all the benefits of fasting became easy because now I associate them with positives. No, you're not going to lose muscle because you haven't, it's 1 p.m. you haven't eaten yet, right? So a lot of the issues people have with not eating or cutting their calories or doing a fast is because they have a negative association. But if you know it's amazing for you, your body's getting a boost in growth hormone, you're breaking down body fat, you're increasing cellular repair, fasting is associated with reduction in certain illnesses, and it has life extension benefits. Like once you know all this stuff's happening, then you embrace the hunger. You're like, yeah, a little bit of hunger is good. So, and if you're cutting and you're trying to get leaner, then you just have to you're not chasing feeling full. But a really cool thing when people follow my certain diet, right? Like the only way I can actually get lean consistently is if I eat I fast, I eat a small first meal. I cannot, when I get lean, I'm going into dinner having only eaten about 700 calories. This is the way I get lean because now I can eat a big dinner, dessert at night, and I hit the deficit.
It's guilt-free because you can still eat basically what you wanted to eat anyway.
Yeah, so my body likes to be full every day, but I don't need to be full all day. So by eating light at lunchtime, so I'm staving off hunger. I'm giving myself high quality protein and nutrition, but I'm staving off hunger. I can eat a very big feast at dinner, 1,300 calories. I can have 600 calories of dessert at night, and I'm satisfied. And cutting is so easy. So when people follow my approach, sometimes I'm blown away how much I can eat and get lean. But we're fasting during the day. We're keeping our first meal. My first meal, I do plain Greek yogurt, 2%. The 0% is not as good at keeping you full. Don't get 0% Greek yogurt.
I never do.
Never. People will think I do. No, 2%. It's much more satiating. You need fat to keep you full. I mix 2% plain Greek yogurt with my chocolate collagen, which collagen creates a gel-like substance that keeps you full longer. I'll mix that into like a protein pudding. I'll put in some fresh fruits or sliced bananas, maybe a little bit of granola. That's about 300 calories, 350. Then I'll have like an extra 250 calories of some cookies or Rice Krispie, something just tasty that hits the spot. And that's my 600 calorie, maybe 700 calorie first meal. And then at dinner time, I'll have a big, 14 ounce New York strip loin, some vegetables, some potatoes or sourdough bread, 1,300 calorie meal, right? So I'm at like 1,900, 2,000. And then I'll have like 500 calories dessert at night. I'm at 2,500 and I have a good amount of muscle and I do 15K steps a day. And so that's a 300 calorie deficit for me. So I'll lose, 2-3 pounds a month of pure body fat doing that.
Wow. That sounds so enjoyable too.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like when you say that, it's like you're not deprived of anything.
Not at all. And again, the less fat you have to lose, the slower you want to take it. If you have 30 pounds to lose, you can lose 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of pure fat a week. The first week, you'll lose double that because of water weight. You're losing glycogen, you're depleting water weight, but you can lose 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a week. When you have 10 pounds to lose, you only really want to lose about 1 pound. And if you have 5 pounds of fat you're cutting, you want to lose 0.5 pound. Because the less fat you have to lose, the more sensitive your body is to a deficit, where if you go into too much of a deficit, you're going to pull the elastic band, you're going to become starving, you can, your T levels, testosterone levels can drop, muscle, so you got to be really, really slow. I can right now, at my body fat level, I am the last person that's going to be able to handle an extreme diet. And this is why I fell into binge eating patterns when I was younger, because I was doing stuff that someone that's 20% body fat can muster through and get by. But when you're already fairly lean and you try and do that, you're physiologically messing your body up.
And headaches, you're feeling down, your libido's down, everything's messed up.
I mean, what I would experience was just ravenous, insatiable hunger. I would just
and that takes over everything that you're doing. You can't do anything when you're focused on that.
I would be, and there are people out there that have anorexia, right? They have anorexia. And I actually have to that is horrible. You're just rotting your body. You're depriving your body of nutrition. Your hair is going to fall out. Your skin is going to lose its color. You can create damage to your stomach lining, right? But that is, I could never do that to my body because I never had that level of discipline. Like if I was that ravenous, that hungry, I would break.
Yeah.
I probably could have forced myself to stick to low calorie diets, but I just didn't have the willpower to be anorexic, dude. Like I didn't have the willpower. Like if I could have done 1,200 calories, 1,500 calories a day and kept it, I would have done it. I couldn't. Yeah. This is also why Ozempic is very, very dangerous, right? Why is Ozempic dangerous? Because now people can actually do stupid things. So I don't know how anorexic people can actually go and not eat. Like I couldn't do that. Like that level of discipline is off the charts. But now with Ozempic, people can destroy their bodies because now their appetite is completely crushed. You do not want to crush your appetite. So now what happens with people on Ozempic, right? They eat too few calories. They don't eat the right quality of food. And so now they destroy their bodies. They lose a bunch of muscle.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? And a lot of them are not lifting.
Yeah.
Right? And because you don't have energy to lift because you're not eating enough.
Yeah, Ozempic unfairly is getting called the culprit. Ozempic doesn't inherently cause bone loss. It doesn't inherently cause muscle loss. What it does enable, it enables someone to do a really stupid diet and exercise program. And so, am I a fan of Ozempic? Absolutely not. But is Ozempic the real culprit here? No, it's the mindset of trying to deprive your body, eat very low calories, and bootstrap your way lean. You want to give your body the beauty of health. You want to coax yourself lean, and that's the challenge, right? So you're seeing people that are having huge amounts of bone loss with Ozempic, losing tons of muscle, their face gets gone. It's because they're doing things that they couldn't do before.
They're thinking it's a magic pill. You just inject yourself, and then they don't have to still eat good, proper, nutritious food, still work out, and all this stuff. And I'm sure there are use cases for it if you're doing it right and supervised and whatever. But like, if you can opt to do the approach where you have a longer term. Not even dieting. I know it's kind of in your space a trope, but like lifestyle change, actually changing your mindset towards how you consume food and view your body and fitness. It's a lot more sustainable long term.
Yeah, if you wanted to do Ozempic correctly, you'd take your goal body weight. Let's say your goal body weight is 200 pounds, right? You would times it by 12. That's 2,400 calories. If your goal body weight is 150, that's 1,800 calories. That's your calorie intake. Don't go below that. Then you'd want to eat at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, about 160, 164, that's your protein intake. Then you'd want to eat a balance of fats and carbs. So don't cut out fat, don't cut out carbs, eat balance. Then you'd want to be walking at least 10,000 steps a day. If you want to become a fat burning machine, you'd walk 15,000 steps a day. Then you'd want to be doing just two strength training days a week. Go to the gym, do some compound movements, do some pushing, some pulling, some lateral raises, do some lunges, some Romanian deadlifts. Just lift weights twice a week. If you do that, you'll be good, right? You'll be good. But if you go on Ozempic and you eat, you don't need Ozempic. When you know how to cut correctly, you don't need it. And it has a lot of side effects with like feeling nauseous and it's just not the way to go. But if you were to do it, that's how you do it. But people want to go and do extreme dieting and starve their bodies, punish their bodies. Just like, remember when I said earlier in the podcast, if you do not accept where you are right now, you cannot take right action. So if you don't accept where you are right now, the body you have, the position you're in right now in your life, you can't take right action. So if you don't accept yourself, you're going to go on Ozempic and you're going to kill your body, right? But if you accept, okay, fine, you know, maybe we're 300. I've had clients that are 300 plus pounds lose 100 pounds. They did it the right way, and they have this confidence, and they have this power.
Yeah,
and it's also
and it's lasting.
Yeah,
right. The problem is for a lot of people who do take this type of stuff, what happens when you stop taking it, and now you no longer have this thing that's completely shifting how you consume food and how your body processes it. You're going to gain all that back and then feel 100 times worse.
And you know, there was you know, one of the reasons why I never was interested in doing steroids was because I wanted to achieve the accomplishment of transforming my body. Once you start using steroids, who gets the onus? The steroids does.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as someone injects steroids, all of a sudden their accomplishment went out the window. I wanted to earn that accomplishment. I wanted the pride where if someone says, "Oh, dude, you look amazing," I can accept that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did it naturally,
that.
right? And you also learn a lesson you can apply into business and apply into life. And so if someone uses Ozempic, you didn't really earn it. You cut your appetite in half. Now, that might hurt someone's feelings. They might get pissed off. What do you mean I didn't earn it, you know? Like I saw a doctor on Instagram talk about about his clients, and like some of his clients, like, you know, like I've talked to my clients and they go on Ozempic, and you don't understand. They have this hunger. They tried to diet before. They had a hard time dieting. I had that.
Yeah.
Everyone has that.
Yeah.
We all are hungry. Yeah. If I could eat 5,000 calories a day, I would. Right? Every single person has dealt with that. You think I feel full on 2,300 calories? I had to craft my diet in such a specific way to stay full on 23, 24, 2,500 calories. I have to fast. I have my black coffee. I have to eat this light, like collagen Greek yogurt bowl. I have a Rice Krispie because it hits the spot for me. It's not like this. I'm obsessed with Rice Krispies. For some reason, this Rice Krispie makes me feel satisfied. I eat my steak and broccoli and potatoes, and then I cannot get ripped, right? Unless I had dessert at night. I've never lost weight consistently and got really lean without having dessert at night. I have to have dessert at night because it satisfies me. So I finish my 2,500 calories with cookies and milk at night, and I feel incredible. And it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty. I eat cookies. I'm like, oh no, we finished the calories with cookies. I got my protein in. I got my steps in. It's a win. Eating cookies or chocolate at night is a win. And so it's hard for everyone. Right? And most people that have, it's actually harder for me. It's harder for me to lose a pound than for someone that's 300 pounds to lose 10 pounds.
Of course.
They're not having a physiological issue. They do not have a physiological issue with fat loss. It's a psychological issue.
Yeah.
They have a psychological issue. When you have 50 extra pounds of body fat, 100 extra pounds, your body is flooded with leptin. Your body desperately wants you to experience a deficit. It wants you to become healthy, right? It's the easiest to lose weight. They've done research, and they had two groups of people, a lean group and an obese group. They only gave them a bland, tasteless meal replacement shake. That's all they could have. Who ate more calories, the lean group or the obese group?
The obese group?
No.
The lean group.
The lean group was eating close to 3,000 calories a day.
Okay.
And the obese group was eating like less than 2,000.
Really? So it actually worked better?
Their body, yeah, physiologically, their body wants to lose weight. It's a psychological issue. Now, you can give yourself the Ozempic shot, and you can just cut off hunger completely, right? Or you can work through the psychology, which I think is a much more powerful, confident thing to do.
How would someone who is on their, fitness journey, trying to get in a lot better shape, get leaner, who's like, let's say, I don't know, they got like 30, 40 pounds to lose to really get into an ideal physique for them. How do they go about figuring out what is their Rice Krispies? What is their steak? How you have your system? Is that just trial and error? Like, how do they figure that out?
Right. So I like to here's the format that works very, very well for getting lean. Okay. Let's say you wake up at 8 a.m. You drink sparkling water and you have a little bit of some black coffee till 1 p.m. So you have a 5-hour fast. You'd be surprised. I mean, I have family members that were obese, right? That were in my genetic bloodline. And they found it like fasting was an unlock for them. It was wow. Oh my God, it's so easy, right? You start eating in the morning, you grazing on food, it's a psychological thing, right?
So, I could never eat breakfast. I feel, or like, I mean, I have, and I do eat if I'm traveling or something or whatever, I'm fucking off, but I just can't. I'm not hungry in the morning. My first meal is always around 12, 1 o'clock.
Right. So the format is you wake up in the morning, you go 5 hours, just water, sparkling water, black coffee. You have your first meal. The first meal, you want to eat something you can stick to, and you want to know the calories of this meal, right? You eat the same thing every day. So for me, it's my collagen fruit bowl with my protein and Greek yogurt and a Rice Krispie or even some cookies, right? For you, it could be a sandwich, but you have to know the calories with absolute certainty that you're having 600, 700 calories. Yeah. Don't go to a restaurant, you need to know the calories of this meal. Okay?
Got it.
Okay. So it could be an omelet and some fruit. So you can test different things. What hits the spot? Is there maybe you have this omelet and then you want to overeat after? You want to pick the thing where you can finish your calories and you feel good. It doesn't feel like it takes willpower to stop eating. It could be a sandwich, could be an omelet with some fruit, right? It could be whatever you want. And this is also when I stopped obsessing about protein, because sometimes obsessing about protein maybe want to eat more. So then that's your first meal. Then you have dinner at whatever time you choose. It could be 5:30, could be 6:30, could be 7:30 p.m. Then you have your dinner. Mm-hmm. Your dinner, you want to have about 12 to 14 ounces of lean meat. It could be a steak, could be chicken, could be salmon. Okay, lean protein, some veggies like broccoli, cauliflower, and you can have a serving of potatoes. Potatoes are probably one of the best top 10 fat-burning foods in the world. Why? People think potatoes make you gain weight. Incorrect.
Yeah, they're like scared of carbs.
Yeah, potatoes. Look at the satiety index. The satiety index is how filling a food is per unit of calories. Potatoes are off the charts. It's one of the most filling, satiating foods. So potatoes, and don't go away from butter. You need to have a balance to get the hunger cues, to get the fullness, right? Mm-hmm. Use a little bit of butter. Yeah. So have your potatoes, your broccoli, your lean meat. At this point, most people at this point will have had maybe 1,600 to 2,000 calories. And then you can have a dessert at night. And it could be 300 calories. For me, with my calories, I have like room for 600. And that's the format. You can play around with the dinner that keeps you full. You can play around with the lunch. But once you find the meals that satisfy you, that hit the spot, here's the secret to getting ripped. Don't deviate from them. Eat the same stuff.
Dude, I got to show you something.
Yeah.
So I got these meal preps from this service, and I'm not paid to put this out or anything. Yeah. But like, I've had to hack it for myself. Yeah. So it's like, for me, I just know I'm busy. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing a bunch of shit. I don't got time to always be cooking and fucking around with that stuff. So I look at this and I just see I know how much protein I'm getting. I know how much calories. And then, I got a little donut to treat myself later.
That's okay. So I'm gonna crush your dreams right now.
Go for it.
I'll tell you why you're making a massive mistake.
Please.
So,
that's what this is for, man. That's what this is for.
So one, that people think about the food they eat, the quality of the food. You have to think even deeper, right?
Okay.
So that meal is in black plastic. Yes. Now we know that plastic can leach microplastics.
Yes.
But black plastic is the worst plastic.
Plastic is the worst.
It's made from recycled electronics, has heavy metals, endocrine disruptors. So if they're putting in that food hot, right? They put that in food hot, and then they refrigerate it.
The plastics are leaching
into your food, and then you're gonna basically you're gonna be putting a toxic load on your body and be lowering your testosterone. So the meal replacement stuff, or the meal service stuff is actually not as good.
Okay, fair.
Unless you can get it in the right containers. Mm-hmm. But the black plastic is actually the most damaging. Okay. So what I do is I make my fruit bowl at home, whatever. You can pack it or whatever.
Yeah.
Have some cookies or crispy or some fruit and whatever. And then that's kind of homemade. And then for my dinner, I'll cook dinner. I'll go out for dinner. I try not to do the Uber Eats unless you're not having you have a solution for like hot food and plastic. But the cool thing with the big meal is that like when you have 1,200 calories that you can fit in for your dinner,
you got
so easy, man.
Yeah.
You got so much room. Like I can just go out, eat to my heart's delight, and again, the more food you have, the harder it is to eat less calories. So if you're trying to have 6 different things for dinner, not good. Pick 3 things: a meat, a veggie, a carb. Okay. The more options you have, the more you want to eat. So that's sort of what I recommend, and I'll have dessert at night. And then if people do that and they get lots of steps, they'll they'll lose weight, they'll get leaner by the day, and like, this is the easiest out of my life. As your body adapts to fasting very quickly. Okay. In about 1 to 2 weeks, your body will adapt and it feels normal. And once you adapt to fasting, it's the easiest way to get lean. But the plastic thing is a concern
for sure.
And now we're seeing that like the load of microplastics in the human body, it has been increasing in the last decade.
Absolutely. And look, I'm totally with you on what you're saying, and like an optimal, health setting,
hormone
and whatnot, all that stuff. If you saw what I was doing before, I was doing the Uber Eats pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I was eating at restaurants. I had no idea what seed oils, what calories, whatever. I didn't give a shit because I'm just like, I just gotta get some food in me and get back to the thing I'm doing. So I do think that this is a better thing. Is it the best? Is it the most optimal? No. And now I will probably not use a service that comes with that.
It can be a short-term solution. You can do it, but it's not going to be a great long-term solution.
Right.
Because of the microplastics, right? So what I would recommend is, here's the key to getting lean. Wake up. The first thing you do after you use the toilet, weigh yourself naked. Now, you know what you're gonna have for the first meal. It's the same thing every day, and you know the exact calories.
Yep.
Now you go to that, you cook dinner, you go to that restaurant, and you get the lean meat, the veggie, the broccoli, right? And you can take a photo of it and ask ChatGPT, estimate the calories. It will give you a good range, right?
Yeah.
And err on the lower side. So if it says 1,000 to 1,300, it's usually closer to. It's usually closer to 1,300. Yeah. Err on that higher side. I mean, and so then you have your dessert at night. You get all your steps, and you wake up. You do that for 4 days in a row because weight can fluctuate. If your weight is going down, great. And if your weight is stuck or going up, then you're overeating on one of those meals. And so you fall, let the weight guide you.
I appreciate you breaking it down in such a simple and logical way. And I love that it's easy, right? You even just right now I just made a bunch of like, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to do now. That's what I've always loved about how you go about this is, let's remove the BS, these stories we tell ourselves and all that stuff.
And also let's remove every single decision from your life, right? So the hard part about getting lean sometimes, not even the calories. Once you have the format dialed, the hard part is decisions. What am I going to have for dinner? When am I going to have this? What should I eat? No decisions. The key to getting lean is having to make 0 decisions. So every day you wake up, you know exactly what you're going to eat. If you get invited to a dinner, right? Or you get invited to a friend's house, they're serving dinner, take a photo. Or just ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm going to this restaurant. Here are my calorie and protein goals. Tell me what to order.
Wow, that's powerful, dude. I've been using ChatGPT for my fitness to track my lifts and to progressively overload. And it's been a huge hack for me because it kind of takes the thinking out of it. Like, oh, what did I lift on RDLs last week? What did I do on this? Like, it's there, and it's been an amazing tool for me to.
That's great.
Stay in check.
That's great. And again, weighing yourself daily is the set point. If you go 5 days and your weight isn't going down consistently over 5 days, you're not in a deficit. So a lot of people think they're eating in a deficit. They're not, because they don't know how to track their calories, estimate their calories. They don't track, there's a few grapes there, so they eat a few grapes. They use a sauce, they don't track the sauce. So every single person that's saying they're in a deficit, they're not losing weight, is lying. Non-negotiable. If you're listening to this right now, you're like, no, I eat 1,800 calories a day. I can't lose weight on that. My metabolism is broken. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. And I've had probably hundreds of people that have come to me with this. And every single time I said, one, you're eating too few calories, so you're causing a starvation response. And then you're overeating. Maybe it's 1 day a week. Could be 1 day every 8 days, and then you blow the last 8 days, right? So you have to just get it dialed. Yeah, you can't. A deficit's a deficit, right? There's how many calories a human being burns is relatively fixed. The idea that someone says they have a fast metabolism, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, what is a fast metabolism? So most of the calories you burn, right, is you would burn if you were lying down all day. Okay, it's your resting metabolic rate, and that's built on how much sort of muscle tissue you have, organs, lean body mass, right? So the more muscle mass you have, the more you're going to burn. And taller guys actually burn more than shorter guys because organs are more metabolically costly than muscle tissue. And so someone that's 6'4" is going to have larger organs than someone that's 5'10". Okay, so most of the calories you burn is your resting metabolic rate. Now, the other amount of calories you burn, and then the RMR, that's fixed. It's based on how much lean body mass you have. And there's an advantage for people that are taller, okay? Now, the other aspect of your metabolism is how much you're moving. It's literally just how much muscle you have and how much you're moving. Now, when you eat food, there's a thermogenic cost of digesting food. You have your formal exercise, you go to the gym, you're burning calories. You also have your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? So your metabolism is fixed based on how much muscle mass you have and how much you move. So if most times if someone says they have a fast metabolism, they just don't eat that much. And they say they eat a lot, right? They say they eat a lot, but they think they eat a lot. They don't. I've seen these people that have fast metabolism. Bitch, you don't eat a lot. That's a lot to you?
Yes, that's
nothing. That's nothing. So people, and then they'll also like go a couple days, like barely eat. They forget to eat. Fast metabolism people are a myth. The people that say they have a slow metabolism do not have a slow metabolism. They just like to eat a lot. So there's two different types of people, okay? Those that like to move a lot, right? And burn off calories and not eat much. And then you have the people that like to conserve energy and eat energy. Now, if you go back to our hunter-gatherer sort of ancestors, which group would you want to be 1,000 years ago?
The one who moves a lot?
No. I mean, if you...
because in terms of survival,
you
want to be able to do less.
Yeah.
To...
like, unless you live near the equator, but if you, my ancestry is Ireland, right? In Northern Europe, right? So Northern Europe, they had periods of food shortages.
You want to be able to
and so that. You need to be able to conserve energy. And then when food became available, you need to be able to eat and store fat and put on weight, right? So if you have a slow metabolism, your genetic code has evolved in such a way to survive through harsh environments and food shortages to conserve energy and put on energy and store energy, right? Now, if you're someone that that thinks they have a fast metabolism, well, you're not as good at overeating and you like to burn a lot, right? So your genetic code may have evolved in an environment where food was readily available.
Mm-hmm.
You had lots of fruits around and you didn't have to stress and endure harsh winters. And so that's the reality of fast and slow metabolism, is that a fast metabolism will avoid a surplus. So when they're eating into a surplus, their appetite will shut off and they'll want to move more. A slow metabolism person does not have that. They can put themselves into a 3,000 calorie surplus today and still want to eat more. They are desensitized to being a surplus, right? A fast metabolism is very sensitive. Oh, I'm in a surplus. They want to burn more. They can't eat, right?
Mm.
So, and I'm in part, like, I'm kind of jealous of these people. Like, people think it's easy for me to be lean. No, this is hard. This is how I've mastered. This is how I've transformed thousands of people. It's hard.
No, that's powerful, man, to see that it really does come down to movement and calories. Like, that's really the thing that we have in our control. We all know this, but these lies, these stories we tell ourselves.
And it's movement and it's calories, and that's not enough, right? Because that can put people in the wrong direction. It's making it as enjoyable as possible. Finding the most enjoyable way to be in a moderate deficit. And, we talked about training legs, right? So yeah, training legs is really, really good. But when I'm getting lean, I have to keep my leg training very minimal. If I'm doing a leg workout, I'll maybe do like 6 to 8 sets in a workout.
Because it'll make you more hungry?
It'll make me starving.
Yeah.
If I'm doing like sets and sets of lunges and squats and deadlifts and all that stuff, my appetite is gonna double. Like,
that's my problem with like HIIT workouts and like these crazy like CrossFit type workouts.
They're garbage for getting lean. They're absolute garbage. Yeah. The all you want to do when you want to get lean is you want to do 2 to 3 minimalist workouts. Pick 4 exercises, do 2 sets 2 heavy work sets, leave the gym, and then walk 15K steps a day, 10 to 15.
I find that getting the steps in is so easy. Like I do like 18 to 20. I just love walking.
18 to 20.
I love walking around, moving around. I am very like, I love activity. I gotta like be moving all the time. But yeah, I definitely fall into the category of like, I then eat too much.
No, if I lift too much, my physique will look worse. I'll get hungry and I'll overeat. So I actually like to lift. I took 5 days off the gym recently.
Wow.
And then I hit a workout yesterday. I'll probably do a little bit of legs tomorrow, but I just keep it very, very minimal, because there's a certain, you overdo it and then you create a appetite response. So yeah, it becomes way harder. You want to get lean. Now you're doing all this intense leg training. And so your part of your body is like, oh, we got to recover from all this training. And then your mind's telling you, I got to eat more food for this big workout. And so no, you want to do the minimum effective dose to maintain muscle and just make eating the calories, the deficit, as easy as possible. And then when you want to maintain your weight or put on some muscle, then you can increase the training volume. I'd never go over 3 workouts a week, but you increase the training volume a little bit and eat more calories. But when you're cutting, you want to make it as easy as possible.
We've been talking a lot about lifting.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, and I don't know how you're doing on time.
I'm okay.
It's okay, cool. We've been talking a lot about lifting. We've been talking about walking and obviously the diet side of things. But for me, something that's really important is having some kind of sport outlet. So I box, kickbox 2-3 times a week. That's just something more for my mental and like having something to train for. But I will say, I'm hungry as shit after. Like, after a crazy kickboxing session of like 45 minutes to an hour, I'm spent. And like, I've obviously expended like 700-800 calories in that session. But then I feel like I eat way more than that.
They eat like at least 1.5 times that. Yeah. So if you want to get lean, remove that.
Remove it. Just stick to the walking.
It makes it way, way harder. I mean, if you can pay to have a private instructor and tell them, look, let's do an hour, but let's take more rest. Let's just focus on technique, skill, speed. It's no conditioning, like no crazy rounds. Let's just work on technique and make it more playful and technical, right?
Yeah.
You can do that for 2 hours,
yeah.
but because you're not going to be keeping your heart rate super elevated. So that's the correct way to do that. While you're getting lean, it doesn't work.
Those things are opposing forces.
And people think it's the opposite. Oh, you got to work out. No, it's an opposing force, because it for most people, especially when you're cutting the last 10, 15 pounds, that all that stuff you're doing, one, it can impair recovery, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. It's a recovery deficit. So when your body's getting in less calories, your recovery is not going to be as strong as if you're eating at maintenance. So now you're adding in this more stress, you're adding all this cardio. Now you're pulling the elastic band, you're going to get hungry. So the leanest I ever get is when I lift weights twice a week and walk. Walking doesn't create that effect. Walking burns a moderate amount of calories, but it does not induce hunger. So the easiest way to get lean is walk 15K steps a day, lift weights twice a week, okay? And just nail your diet, your nutrition. And then you can add in that stuff later. Once you're maintaining your weight, you can add in a little bit of the boxing stuff, but no, it makes it definitely harder. So you can do some shadow boxing stuff, but like I've done those workouts. They're very intense and you're ravenous after.
Yeah, every time. And that's kind of this cycle that I keep finding myself in, is like, I'm kind of trying to do both. I'm trying to lean out, lose weight, but also I like the sport element and have something to do a few times.
And I mean, if you're truly there, like I think a lot of the martial art and boxing, it's like 70% focused on conditioning, 30% on technique, right? So if you're really there just to get technical and get good, you don't need all that conditioning. Your ability to learn and master techniques is compromised when you're fatigued.
Very true.
So you want to and I've gotten so frustrated with martial art coaches, boxing coaches. There's some good ones for sure, but like they think they think the value of their session is in how tired and fatigued you are.
Sweat someone.
And this is like personal trainers too. They think the goal of a good workout is how fatigued you're in. No, the goal is to improve. If you're strength training, the goal is to become stronger. Unless you're preparing for a fight, and you need to improve conditioning and in a measurable way, right? But even doing that, sometimes the conditioning backfires, right? When you're doing a boxing session or jiu-jitsu, the goal is to improve, to become more technical. So if you just fatigue yourself right away, you can't improve. I mean, if you study the top guys, even like George St. Pierre, right? A lot of his training is much more playful. They're keeping the intensity low so they can get more technical and learn in a more playful environment. When your body's stressed, your memory, your ability to retain and memorize information is reduced.
And he's a big proponent as well of intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
GSP's the GOAT.
GSP had a video, right? Put this out years ago, going for one arm chin up. Could barely budge because he doesn't know how to get the one arm. I could teach him how to do the one arm chin up.
You heard it here.
Yeah, I've seen you try to do the one arm chin up, man. You should be able to hit 2 of those if you have the correct training. If I get you on the correct training, you'll hit 2 one arm chin ups for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
We talk about recovery being a big part of it. What's your views on sleep and the importance of it?
I mean, I think it's for overall quality of life and hormones and everything. It is crucial. It is crucial. And, you know, one of the problems and issues I see is that people, they try to wake up extra early, right? They want to get up super early. So they want to wake up at 6 in the morning, 5:30, 4 in the morning. It's just, they're pushing the envelope deeper and deeper and deeper. That is wrong. You do not want to force yourself to get up super, super early. Some people can maybe do it, but the challenge with that is that
you got to go to bed at 8, like 8.
Well, yeah, and then I've analyzed people's sleep scores if they ever use the Oura ring. So the challenge is that when you're trying to get up super early, okay, what happens during a sleep cycle? The first couple hours or few hours of sleep is usually mostly light sleep. Then you go into deep sleep. That's where you produce testosterone, right? That's where you support muscle growth disproportionately. The second phase of sleep, you know, the final few hours of sleep is when you're getting disproportionately more REM sleep. REM is incredible for mood, for learning, for memory. Like if you wake up and you just wake up, you're like, fuck, I feel like $1 million. I feel like $1 million. It's because you got sufficient REM, 90 minutes to 2 hours, even more. If you wake up, you're like, fuck, I feel off, right? I feel shitty. You didn't get enough REM. Maybe you only got an hour and 10, hour and 15. And so when people try to force themselves to wake up an hour earlier, okay, and get up super early, it's usually at the expense of REM. And now if you stick to that and you go to bed early and you stick to that for 30 days straight, you'll be okay. But the challenge is then you have once on the weekend, every other weekend, you have a dinner and you have a social outing or you have to finish a project. And so you're up a little bit later and then it screws up that whole cycle again. And so the correct thing to do is honestly to wake up whenever your body can unlock the most amount of deep sleep, most amount of REM is the correct time to wake up. So if that could mean some successful people are night owls and they work from midnight to 3 and then they go to bed at 3 in the morning and they wake up at 9:30 or 10. Some people like to go to bed at 9, right, and get up at like 5 or 6. And again, if people think that if they go to bed at 12, wake up at 8 in the morning, they got 8 hours of sleep. No. If you go to sleep at 12, even if you fall asleep really, really fast, you usually lose an hour from micro wake ups and stuff like that. So like if you want to get 8 hours of sleep, you have to be in bed for 9 hours.
What time do you go to bed and wake up generally?
I usually go to bed at 12:30 to 1 a.m. and wake up at 9:30 to 10. That's my window. And I have like the blackout is so important. You must have full blackout or you must get a really high quality mask because any sort of light coming in will disrupt achieving deep. It'll wake you up. So it'll pull you out of REM. So sleep is very, very important. And it is important for building, but I've had clients that were doctors that had crazy shifts that were sleeping 5-6 hours a night that still got amazing results, but it's harder.
Yeah.
It's harder. Like, let's be honest. I've had clients that only slept 5-6 hours and they got amazing results. I mean, I think like what's optimal is 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep.
Yeah, I definitely got to work on that because I do identify a little bit more with the night owl. That's when I just feel the most creative. No one's bothering me. I get cool shit done. I'm very social. So I like between 12:30 and 2 o'clock is when I like to go to bed type of thing. But my body just wakes me up at 7:30 to 8:30 every day. Like it's just when I wake up.
Do you have your full blackout set up?
Yeah, it's pretty blackout, and I do have the mask I wear some nights.
So in that sense, your body wakes you up around 8,
7:30 to 8 every day. No alarm.
Yeah, so your probably natural clock would probably be to go to bed around 11:30.
Yeah, that's when I know I should. That's when I get tired.
Right.
But then I push a little bit more, and then like everyone, a little bit of scrolling, reply to some texts, or hanging out with someone, like,
Yeah, I need to, like, for me to get really, really good sleep, I need it to be legit freezing.
yeah, I
So
need it super cold.
I sleep at 58 degrees Fahrenheit.
58. Okay, that's
Yeah.
I'm like 69, 68.
No, I do 58. Like I am
Must be actually mean free.
yeah, like
You do got that Irish blood, bro.
dude, I can sleep at 62,
Yeah,
but
but it's
like
just better.
58 is incredible, man. Like 58, like when I travel, like I call hotels and I'll call like 5, 6 hotels and just see who has the strongest AC.
Love.
I have my assistant do it. So if I'm going to Barcelona or whatever, I'll call all the hotels and say like who can get like, and if it's 65 with a fan, I can live. I'll bring a small little blanket and just sleep a little blanket, 65, fan on, and it will be suboptimal for me. I like 58. 58 is like freaking, and then it's so if you wake up and your room is cold, it's much easier to sleep longer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're slightly warm, that will wake you up. So yeah, I used to sleep in till 1 p.m. when I was like a freaking night owl. I'd be up till like 3, 4 in the morning. I'd sleep until 12:30, 12:01. It's nuts. Yeah.
And that's changed the last few years.
Yeah, it's changed. Yeah. That was a little much, but like my ideal is going to bed around 12:30 and waking up at like 9:30.
Want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, Greg, the entrepreneur and creator as well. I mean, obviously you built an incredible brand. You're helping, thousands of people, and you're putting out amazing content all the time. What is something that, people don't know about you from just watching your content and stuff? Well, what's something that like would surprise people about you with your journey?
Well, I'm actually like, no, I'm actually a pretty simple person. So like, I don't like, sometimes I'll show flashy stuff, but like, I like to wake up and have a coffee and go for a nice walk and eat some good food. And I like to kind of focus right on my goals and, watch movies at night and have a nice dinner. And like, I don't need the extravagance, so I actually like a very simple day.
What are some of the goals, if you can share some right now for Greg?
Well, I mean, I'm into the fitness stuff. So right now my goal is to get like pretty lean. So, cutting like 2 pounds.
Which is, I mean, but it is tougher for someone like you who's already pretty fucking lean.
It's tougher, yeah. But I'm locked in right now. So, I'm getting to like this certain level of definition. Like when I do content, I'm lean. It just like when I've made the most money, it's always when I'm like 6% body fat.
That's
like the content just fucking rips.
But how do you feel when you are 6%? Like, do you still feel good because you are eating those foods that make you feel not ravenous, like you say?
I feel my best
when you're at 6.
Yeah, I feel my best because I feel like I've completely mastered my body. Like I can't starve myself. I can't punish myself. So it's just I've locked it in so perfectly,
fine tuning,
and I've dialed it in so perfectly. Now I feel my best when I'm locked in. Now, if I'm kind of in a new circumstance and I got to change my patterns all the time and all that, it's a little bit more challenging, right? So, but no, I feel when I'm like 6% body fat, like chiseled, I feel my absolute best.
You kind of talked about something a second ago that I struggle with is, travel as an entrepreneur, as a creator, this type of stuff. I feel like it knocks me out of my habits, but it's because it's my fault. I'm a lot less disciplined. I drink more alcohol. I'm more social. Time zones really fuck me up. How do you manage that with, I mean, I don't know how much you travel and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's the format. So if I'm traveling, and I was in Madrid not too long ago, I wake up. That's my routine. I wake up. I have, black coffee. Might have my little Kinobody pre-workout. I'll get some steps in. I'll get some work done, and I'll keep my first meal non-negotiable 600 calories. So when I was in Madrid, I went to a little coffee shop and I had a ham croissant sandwich. That was like $3.50, and I had like a 300 calorie donut. I ate that, hit the spot, and that was my first meal. Then at dinner, I go for dinner, and I don't think steak, some potato, I'll have French fries too. Like I'm not. People are just freaked out about like seed oils. Like it's not optimal, but they freak out about it way more than they need to. I'll have steak, maybe a little bit of bread or some French fries or potatoes, and I'll eat slowly, and I know my body, so I know when to stop eating. Everyone kind of knows when they're past this threshold of eating too much. Like, let's be honest, you can look at a plate of food and be like, okay,
That's a lot.
like if they bring a huge serving of potatoes or French fries, right? I can look at it like, I obviously can't finish that. It's 2,000 calories, so I'll take a quarter of it, right? So you just can, you know how much you should eat. So I just do that. I'm like, I look at it. Sometimes I'll put it on my plate. I'll move that away. That's my meal, the second meal, and then I'll procure a couple good chocolate chip cookies, or I'll get a little chocolate, and then
There's one thing I learned about you, dude, is you got a sweet tooth. You definitely love your sweet.
But I don't do dessert at restaurants because I like to enjoy dessert while I'm watching a movie at night. So
Nice.
like if I go to a restaurant, have dinner at 8 o'clock, and have a dessert like at 9:30, right? And I get home, I still want to eat dessert. So I just have dessert at home while I'm like putting on a movie. And so that format allows me to get leaner or stay lean while traveling. Now, if I was to if I was to wake up and have like a bigger lunch and get like a sandwich or get something at lunch and then also have a big dinner and then also have a big dessert, I'm gonna pretty much easily put myself in a deficit. So I have to like my secret to getting lean is getting lots of steps, eating light until dinner, eating a filling dinner meal, okay, and tracking the calories. So like, I know the calories of my first meal, call it 600. I know the calories of my dessert, which is about 600. So now I have to eyeball 1,200 calorie dinner,
Which is doable once you've done it enough.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess some people like that's maybe they don't want to do that, but like I've just mastered it. So
Yeah, I think the big takeaway from me there's
and like some people are obsessed about protein, right? So this ham croissant sandwich and donut is not high on protein. Some people are solving for protein, so then they'll go and they'll find a lunch that's high protein, but they'll eat 900 calories and they'll still kind of be that's kind of like a small meal, so still want to eat more. I don't worry about protein that much when I'm traveling. I solve for hitting the calories, right? So for me, the ham croissant sandwich, the donut hits the spot. And then I'll have a huge protein feast at dinner. And that day, I'm still getting like 110, 120 grams of protein, but I don't obsess about protein. For me, the order of magnitude of the order of importance is hitting your calories first. Now, once you can get like a decent amount of protein, like I'm still eating like, 120 grams a day, that's fine. But when I'm traveling, I'm trying to force myself to eat this protein. I'm ordering these extra calories to try and get the protein. And I'm still hungry because it's not a big meal. Then I've lost.
Well, I guess you get to do that because you're not obsessed with working out 5-6 times a week. Where
Right.
like the people who say you should do that are the same ones who are like you got to hit these crazy 200+ gram protein days, which I've always struggled to hit, dude. It's always tough for me to get that much.
I mean, I hit it, right? I used to do that, and it just it's hard. It just made the deficit less enjoyable because now you got to cut out your carbs and fats. You got to cut them back a lot. So then I would get more cravings, and then too much protein. If you're cutting back carbs or fats, you drop your testosterone. So your hormone levels dip, right? So what protein is completely overstated. If you're speaking to the average person that doesn't think about protein, that gets 60 grams a day, then eating more protein is the best advice possible. But if you're talking to like most people, or like people that are into fitness that are already getting 130, 140 grams a day, obsessing with protein is not that important. Like, what does the research say? The research is about 0.82 grams per pound of goal body weight. So if you have 30 pounds of fat to lose, that 30 pounds of fat does not increase your protein needs at all. So if your lean weight is 180, about 164 is optimal. Now, going from 164 and going down to 134, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, if you want to be as optimal as possible, 0.82. I've gone and lean, strong, jacked, eating about 120, 130. I didn't notice a huge difference between, 130, 160, right? Now, if you go from 160 to 200, it becomes almost a net negative because now you have to reduce your carbs or reduce your fats, and there's no inherent benefit of going higher. And carbohydrates are also protein sparing. So, I just, like, for me, it's like if I'm getting a little bit of protein plus like a big serving of meat, 14 ounces, that's all my body needs.
Is creating content still fun for you? Like, do you still enjoy it the same way you did back in the vlog days and like just putting out content? Or
when it comes from the heart, absolutely. Like the stuff we're talking about, like we're bringing in like real powerful stuff that will change lives. So it is very fun. But you know, there's a point when I was filming lots and lots of ads and ads and ads to run ads on Facebook to sign, like that became less fulfilling. But like making like organic content that's going to impact people's lives and they're going to listen to it, and it's going to, whether they want to buy a supplement from me or buy a program from me, they're going to listen to this. Some are going to be like so fucking turned on. They're going to go through the rabbit hole and become Kino warriors. And some are just like, oh, that was really helpful. They're going to move on with their life and apply what they learned. That's really good for me.
These days, what are you the most excited about personally and professionally?
Well, I've mastered the art of, you know, training, nutrition, steps, recovery to unlock an amazing physique. And now I'm building these different tools to make it even better. So we've created the Kino Mojo supplement to increase testosterone. Most people that take it, they will experience a 200 to 300 point increase.
Wow. That's pretty significant.
Very. So when I was in my 20s, the highest my testosterone ever was in the 600s. 660 was my highest, but usually it was 600. Now I'm in the mid 800s. Older at 33. Older, right? And the only thing that really changed was the Mojo. And then I'm older, which usually T levels can dip then. But we've had people increase their T levels to 300 points. Someone went from like 300 to 600. We've had a lot of people thought that if your T levels weren't low, you couldn't really increase it. So if you're already at 700, like I've had a guy that was at 800 that went to over 1,000. So that's very powerful. And that's when your T levels are higher, you enjoy sex more, you have more energy, more drive, more confidence. So it's very tangible. It's not just the look. Then we created it, which sold out. Hopefully it's back soon. The Kino Shred supplement to just make cutting more easy, right? To increase your thermogenesis, which is a smaller lever. The bigger lever is it really helps cut your appetite, and then it creates this positive momentum. So it's easier to get lean. So we created the Kino Shred. And so I'm just creating really, really cool sort of health supplements for specific goals. And I test drive them for months or even years until I get the formula that really kind of clicks when I get it just right. And then I release it. And then we get thousands of people that try it that usually love it. And then it just snowballs. And so I've been very intentful on doing this slowly. I started off with a pre-workout 6 years ago. Then we all created a really high quality tasting collagen protein. That's what I have every day in the Greek yogurt.
I definitely want to try that. But
yeah, it's incredible, dude. The collagen. And then, you know, we did like a creatine supplement, and then, you know, we did the Mojo, the blood flow. It was just I'm taking my sweet time to get this stuff perfect, and then I've also played around with stuff for months, and it was good but not great. I never released it. So I've for everything I've launched, there's about 2 or 3 things that wasn't up to my standard.
I appreciate you taking the same philosophy you take to your building and crafting your physique, your business, everything, to also the supplements. Do it slow. Let's not rush it. Let's not just go. I love that. One of the kind of last things just to wrap up here. I mean, we could sit here for hours, dude, and just chop it up about this stuff. I really enjoy it. But, you know, how do you want people to remember Greg O'Gallagher, the person, beyond just, you know, all of the philosophies and about losing fat and getting shredded and stuff? Like, you as a person, how do you want to be remembered?
I mean, at this point in time, I think it's a great question. It's a really, really powerful question. I've been thinking about that a little bit. Ultimately, like, my gift has been helping people transform. Giving them, like, there's something weird, man. Like, I was like 19, 20. I was like, when I was 13, I was obsessed with fitness. When I was 19, 20, 21, I started doing videos. And by 24, 25, we had hundreds of thousands of people that bought these programs. They didn't just buy these programs. They lived them. They transformed. I'd walk along on the street. Someone would tell me they did the Greek God, they gained 15 pounds of muscle. Someone did aggressive fouls, lost 50 pounds. Everywhere I went, police officers, random people, like, I had this gift where I could just create content. I've created a system, I create content, and people would just be like excited about transforming it. There's so many other fitness programs out there, okay? People buy them, they don't follow them, they don't have the transformations. This Kinobody's just become this massive movement that like rippled across, you know, the world. And so, like, how I want to be remembered is being that figure to someone that gave them that confidence to change their life.
Wow.
Because I know what it feels like, you know, when you're going through life and you don't have the body handled and you've tried things and you're failing and you're stuck and you're losing confidence, and you just, no matter, you could have some parts of your life going well, but at the end of the day, you just have this lack of confidence because you don't have your body right. You don't feel good. And then the other lack of confidence isn't just how you look. It's like, fuck, I keep trying. I can't get this going. And so I know the power that it has to just completely transform your life, and it just almost like, oh, this is handled. Now you can step in the world feeling lean, strong, powerful, confident. I know the power it has. So
yeah, the ripple effect of that on your business, on your relationships, on everything, like the butterfly effect of that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I mean, how I want to be remembered is that I want to be like, to whoever those people are, I want to just be that person that just gave them that confidence, that, hey, this is the right way. And they took the ball, they ran with it. And so, when I was 24, I did the Bruce Wayne video, which probably we had tens of thousands of people sign up after that video. I was a little bit more humble before that, right? I was humble. I had this family mansion, this 18,000 square foot family mansion, and I was working with the camera guy, and he was like, we got to shoot this house. I didn't want to shoot the house. And then I kind of realized, like, the internet is saturated. I got to cut through the internet. And at the end of the day, I want to transform people's lives. I want to make a positive difference. And so if I can take my shirt off, show off the house, have a model in the shot, throw in a Lambo, and create this over-the-top aspirational world, and that's going to wake people up, and that's going to punch through the algo, I'll do it. And so that was a goal with the Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna show people this. I'm gonna just capture people's attention, right? I'm gonna capture their attention with a 24-year-old living in a 18,000 square foot Bruce Wayne mansion. I'm gonna indoctrinate my fitness system, and I went completely against the grain. I fast. I only work out 3 days a week. I eat steak, potatoes. I do like my heavy set first and one lighter set. Like I did everything I taught was like, holy shit, this guy's doing things differently. And then we had, tens of thousands, I don't know, maybe 100,000 people that bought a program off that. And there are people out there that have sold more programs than me, for sure, but their programs are shit and they don't have any transformations, and they have a massive, they have to pay fucking content people to remove negative reviews and stuff. Like, my stuff worked and people loved it, and it was just it just really, so that's the goal, is to help facilitate that transformation and instill confidence in people, is how I want to be remembered.
Well, Greg, I gotta say, man, sitting here, you are doing that. You live that. I could feel the passion sitting here across from you for all these things that you have done it to yourself. You've actually been through it. You've felt how people that you help felt. You still are always trying to find the best ways, and whether it be through the supplements, the programs, or just testing things on yourself. I mean, I got a ton of respect for you, dude, and I really appreciate you taking the time here. Come on, it's not that deep. I know we got a little bit deep today, but hey, man, I appreciate you.
It was a blast.
Yes, good stuff, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.